Hey guys, what's up, it's iFlynn here, and today we're going to be learning everything we need to know about Zephyr and Zephyr Prime in Warframe. First off, I just want to apologize for this video taking so long to be released. I've had a lot going on with the rebranding of the channel and other stuff like that, so it's better late than never, I guess, but I still apologize regardless. So Zephyr Prime is probably one of the least used frames in the game because she's not necessarily the most useful frame in the world. That being said, she has got a few interesting builds that I think that you guys would actually like. Before we go any further with this video, I want to remind you guys that Warframe is a game that is constantly changing, meaning that everything I say in this video is subject to change. All the links in the description below will be links to other sources that you can use to keep yourself informed with changes to Zephyr and basically any other videos that I make covering her in the future. That being said, while you're down there in the description, go ahead and check out the links to all my other social media so you can stay up to date with whenever I post something online, as well as checking out the monthly 1000 Platinum giveaway that I do down there too. If the giveaway down there has expired, check out my most recent video for the most up-to-date giveaway link, and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and also follow the @PlayWarframe account, because without those guys, I wouldn't be able to do those giveaways for you guys, so follow everybody! Zephyr is a Warframe whose powers are heavily based around crowd control and mobility. She's mainly used to traverse large tile sets at a fast pace while being undamaged because of her third ability, Turbulence, with a hint of crowd control sprinkled on top. Let's talk about Zephyr's stats at max rank. At max rank, she has 450 health, 150 shields, 15 armor, 150 energy, a sprint speed of 1.15, a V and a dash polarity in her modding section, as well as a D in the aura. Zephyr Prime has 450 health, 450 shields, 75 armor, 225 energy, a sprint speed of 1.2, 2 V polarities, a D and a dash in her modding section, and a D in the aura. You can get regular Zephyr by going into your clan's Tenno lab, and Zephyr Prime is still available to farm in-game from the relics that her parts are dropped from. You can get her blueprints from a Neo Z1 relic as a rare drop, her neuroptics from a Lift Hitch 2 relic as a common drop, her chassis from a Neo K1 relic as an uncommon drop, and her systems from a Lift Z1 relic as a rare drop. Keep in mind the Zephyr Prime parts could be added into more relics in the future, so it's worth checking the Warframe wiki for updated drop tables if you're watching this video past this upload date. So let's talk about her abilities. Her first ability is called Tailwind. This ability allows the player to propel themselves in the direction of which they're aiming for up to 30 meters. If you aim upward and charge the ability, at the end of the Tailwind, you're going to stay floating in the air for a small amount of time. Aiming downwards and casting this ability again will cause Zephyr to dive bomb, dealing 500 damage to any enemy caught within 7 meters of where she dive bombed. The distance that you travel with a single cast of Tailwind is affected by power range mods, and the damage that the ability deals to surrounding enemies is affected by power strength mods. Tailwind has an augment for it known as Target Fixation. Fun fact, I didn't actually know this mod existed before scripting this video. This augment and all of Zephyr's other augments can be obtained from the Red Veil Syndicate at the rank of Exalted, or from the New Lucas Syndicate at the rank of Flawless for 25,000 Syndicate standing. This augment will increase the damage done by Tailwind by 50% for every enemy hit. This damage bonus is reset upon landing. What it basically means is the more enemies you dash through, the more damage your Tailwind is going to do in general. With this mod, the damage increase is not affected by power strength mods. Zephyr's second ability is known as Airburst. This ability will make Zephyr shoot free projectiles where she's aiming, exploding with an 8-meter radius upon contacting an enemy or surface, while also dealing 500 damage. Enemies not killed by the projectile will be knocked over and ragdolled. The amount of damage that this ability deals is affected by power strength mods, and the range of the small explosion is affected by power range mods. Zephyr's third ability is known as Turbulence. This ability allows Zephyr to cast a shield of wind around herself that deflects enemy bullets and projectiles. The shield has a range of 6 meters and lasts for 20 seconds. The amount of time that the ability lasts for is affected by power duration mods, and the range of the ability is affected by power range mods. Turbulence has an augment for it known as Jetstream that increases Zephyr and her allies' movement speed and projectile travel speed. Both weapon projectile speed and movement speed bonuses are affected by power strength mods. Zephyr's ultimate ability is called Tornado. This ability allows Zephyr to summon 4 tornadoes that cover a distance of 25 meters, dealing 120 damage per tick, lasting for 20 seconds. Players can shoot these tornadoes to distribute 100% of their total damage, including critical hits and status effects from their weapons and abilities to all enemies trapped within tornadoes. Tornado has an augment for it known as Funnel Clouds, which creates an additional 8 tornadoes. However, the tornadoes are 50% of their original size and won't pick up enemies. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys 2 builds for Zephyr. They have a little bit of variation between them both, so it's up to you kind of to decide what you want to run on either build. I just kind of went for what worked for me and what I thought was the best for my capture runs and other stuff, because that's mainly what I use Zephyr in, just very short missions to, get done what I need to get done. I don't use her in high level play very often, and I don't use her to crowd control a lot of enemies very often, because there are other frames out there that do that better. But Zephyr does definitely have her strengths, right? She's not the best frame, but she's also not the worst frame in the game, in my opinion. So I should also note that her passive just means that she can stay airborne for a little bit longer. She floats whenever she's falling down, which is pretty cool. So the two builds that I'm going to be showing you guys is the Jetstream build, so that makes use of her augment for turbulence, which speeds up the projectile speed and movement speed of Zephyr and any allies within range, which is pretty awesome. I use this build to basically just speedrun missions, right? So what you throw on is kind of down to you. This here is the build right here. So on this Exilus slot, you can run pretty much anything you like, but mainly this build is based around having a decent bit of power strength and also having a decent bit of power duration, right? So I mob more towards duration, and then you might also want to have a tiny bit of range, and I'll show you why whenever we come up to, fighting against a bombard, right? Because there's a chance that a bombard rocket can still hit you, because the thought process behind this build is you turn on turbulence at the start of the mission, and you run through the mission with that speed increase and that projectile increase, and take pretty much no damage because the duration lasts that long. So with this build that I'm running right now, the duration of turbulence is about a minute, right? So 61 seconds. Pretty cool, pretty awesome, and you take absolutely no damage from any enemies that have a hit scan weapon. But because you're not modding for a lot of range, if something like a projectile comes your way, like a bombard rocket, there's still a chance that it can hit you, like it can be reflected up the way, and because your shield is very small, because you don't have a lot of range, you can still essentially die, which isn't so good. So this is a very good defensive ability, but it really depends what type of content that you're using it in will determine how you build for it, right? So we have Constitution, Augur Message, Prime Continuity, and Narrowminded on here for the power duration. And Narrowminded gives us a massive hit to your power range, but like I said, versus hit scan enemies, that doesn't matter too much. If you're playing against enemies that are using projectiles or you're dying to those enemies, you might want to throw on Cunning Drift here. But because the content that I use Zephyr in is relatively low level, I like to actually just run an Exilus mob, which will increase my speed. So you could use Rush, or you could use something like Ice Spring or Lightning Dash or whatever to make it so your momentum in midair is a lot better, right? So we have Jetstream on here for our augment, Streamline on here for our ability efficiency, Intensify the buff up the effect of our Jetstream augment, and then Cruise Projection on here to strip away armor. You can run Energy Siphon if you like. It's really down to you. It depends what type of content you're playing whenever it comes to your aura and stuff like that. But other than that, that is pretty much this build. So if we were to go ahead and spawn in one heavy gunner, and then we also spawn in one bombard, you'll see the effect of our what's it called. So we're actually gonna, our invincibility is turned off, and I need to unpause the AI. So let's go ahead and spawn them in. Get my energy. If I press my free, you'll notice that the bombard deals absolutely no damage to me, but there's a chance for whenever the guy shoots at me with his rocket, it still hits me, right? Because the range of your turbulence is so small, there's a chance it can get reflected directly back into you, which isn't a good thing. But hit scan enemies, they can deal pretty much nothing to you. So if you are having trouble with those projectile-based enemies, what I recommend doing is swapping out the Lightning Dash on your Exilus slot for Cunning Drift, sorry. And then that's pretty much it. So the second build, this is probably my favorite build. It's kind of a more interesting one in my opinion. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be casting our fourth ability, our tornado ability, and that's going to spawn in 12 little tornadoes, right? And with these tornadoes, like I mentioned previously, you can actually change the status effect off them by shooting at it with, a secondary weapon, primary weapon, melee weapon, whatever. So as long as you deal damage to those tornadoes, a lot of damage is going to be dealt to any enemies caught within the tornadoes, and the damage type of the tornadoes is also going to change, right? So if we were to take a look at my pox here, I've modded my pox so the most, predominant element is corrosive damage, so we're going to throw the pucks at the enemies here while our tornadoes are active and on top of them. That's going to change the damage types of the tornadoes to corrosive, and that's going to strip away their armor because it has a pretty decent status chance, right? So with the pucks, you have a 100% status chance. So if you're applying the corrosive status effect on top of that, plus you also get the toxin cloud from the puck, so it's kind of insane damage. So it strips away their armor omega fast, and you'll see that whenever we demonstrate it. So intensify for obviously damage, constitution for a little bit more duration because you want the tornadoes to last long, same with prime continuity. Stretch on here because you want them to have a little bit of range. Now you can increase the range of the tornadoes with your second ability by shooting at them. So if I go ahead and demonstrate that, go ahead, press 4, use your second ability to shoot at them. Once they get energy, it makes them a little bit taller. So I'm not exactly sure if that makes them deal more damage, but it increases the range. So you're going to be dealing more damage either way because, of course, you have more range and stuff like that. So more enemies you're getting caught in, which is awesome, but you don't necessarily have to do that, right? So yeah, so where was I? Prime continuity, constitution for duration, final clouds the augment, streamline for casting, stretch for range, prime flow for your energy max, intensify combined with power drift for your damage, and vitality for health, cruise projection, / energy siphon, whatever you want, okay? And the arcanes doesn't really matter too much. If you're running this build, I would recommend using arcane consequence, but if you're running this build, I recommend sticking with arcane guardian, so you're a little bit more tanky. You can still use your third ability with this build, so you can still soak up all of that damage and you have a decent duration on it, so this is a more well-rounded build. Also, your tailwind is also pretty good too, so you get a decent range from it. So she's more of a speedrun frame. This is just the build that I would use versus higher level enemies. So we're gonna spawn in a group of super high level corrupted heavy gunners, make them pause so I can show you the effect. And we're going to be using the pucks to apply those status effects. Now keep in mind, the pucks leave a little toxin cloud after they burst, so it's also going to deal more damage too. So if we go ahead, press R4, shoot. Now wherever you aim in and shoot is going to be where your tornadoes go. So if you're shooting at a certain group of enemies, your tornadoes are going to go to where you shot last. So yeah, now you can see that those heavy gunners just straight up died. They have absolutely no armor. You can speed up the killing process by jumping in and meleeing them or shooting a little bit more, but in a few shots and just one cast of the ability, those guys died omega fast. So you can see that my tornadoes, if I were to shoot over here, they would end up making their way towards the enemies here as well. So yeah, pretty awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and recast, throw my pucks in there, and you can see that because I have the toxin clouds and also the damage from the tornadoes, you're doing a load of damage with Zephyr. So it's just a different way to play her. A lot of people say that Zephyr is probably one of the most underwhelming frames in the game, and I can agree, but she definitely has her uses, and she's more useful than other frames that, for example, aren't exactly as useful in terms of crowd control, damage dealing, mobility, etc, etc. It's just a different way to play a Warframe. Her builds are quite diverse and different, so it's whatever. So you can kind of make up your own thoughts and opinions on Zephyr, but other than that, that is pretty much how I play her, and I feel like that is everything you need to know. I left out the build requirements in this video because I didn't feel like people necessarily needed those, because if you're going to go get the frame, you're going to find out what the build requirements are anyway, because you're going to have the parts in your foundry, and you either do have the resources or you don't have the resources, so it's kind of down to you as a player to go ahead and source those and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching the return of the Everything You Need to Know About series. It's been awesome making this video. I forget how much I enjoy making these videos. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe for more Warframe content. Make sure to hit that little bell icon so you can get notified as to when I go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.